Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining today. I'm Kim.
And I'm Ben.
And I'm Greg.
And we're from Hungerford Technologies.
Awesome. Episode 4, Webex Wednesdays at 1. So the topic this week is Advanced Screen Sharing Part 2. In general, though, the whole point of this series is to try to evangelize the need for being able as a business to host virtual meetings. We are talking about Webex. There are lots of options out there. If you don't have the ability to host a virtual meeting, you're behind. Even before COVID, if you couldn't do it, you were behind. But especially after COVID, it's a big deal. You should be able to, as a business, host a virtual meeting. So the way this platform is going to go, every Webex Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we'll be doing a short live stream. We'll talk about a prepared content section for the first 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes. And the second half will be open Q&A. Second half does not have to be questions only about the topic that we're covering that day.
Like Greg said, we want this to be very interactive. We want you to comment. So make sure you throw your comments out there. If you're having trouble commenting, it's probably because you are not logged into the platform. So just make sure you're logged into the platform. If you're on our website, you actually need a Twitch account to be logged into. Some people have gotten tripped up over that. You can always email your questions to info@hungerford.tech too. So that's another way to get a hold of us. And speaking of our website, we actually just launched our archive page. So you can go back if you've missed any of our previous episodes and watch them. So if you like what we're doing, you like Webex Wednesday at 1, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this content.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks, guys. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do advanced screen sharing tips part 2. Last week we covered how to share your screen, how to share applications, how to upload something into your session and share it, how to share video content, and how that is different than sharing just sharing your screen. So those were a couple of things. If you missed it last week, go ahead and check it out. It is linked up on our website and in the archives. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to cover how to control someone else's screen. And some people are going to be like, oh, that sounds scary. I don't want someone to be able to take over control of my computer. It is very safe and secure, and you have to do multiple different steps in order to give them access. So we're going to go over those things, and we are going to discuss how it works. We're also going to discuss annotation, which basically just means if you're sharing a document or if you're sharing something else and you want to allow someone to draw on that document or shared screen, then we'll be able to show you how to do that as well. Whiteboarding is the last thing that we're going to cover. So if you wanted to bring up a whiteboard and do some whiteboarding with people inside of a session, we're also going to show you how to do that. And let's get started. So cool. Greg, if you want to share your screen.
Yeah, so we're already in a meeting here. It's Ben's meeting room. I'm joined as a participant. I'm just going to go through and click share screen, share my whole screen, something we went over last week. And here we go. I've got my screen share going, and I'm looking at our website, choosing which WebEx is right for me.
All right, and so what I'm going to do is, let's say Greg is having trouble navigating our website, and he's like, I don't see the try WebEx for 30 days for free. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to get access to your computer. So if we switch back to my screen, I'm going to right click and say, ask to take control. And then it's going to send a request over to Greg. And if we flip back to him,
so I've got here, this window popped up, and I can decline if I want to, but I trust you, Ben. So I'm going to say approve.
Perfect. And then from here, it's going to flip back to me. And what we're going to see on my end is it's going to one more time say, take control. If I want to take control of his screen, then I can take control of his screen. So Greg's going to lift his hands up so you can see that I'm controlling the screen.
No tricks.
And it's going to be a little off because I am sharing and taking care of, or he's sharing and I'm taking care of his control of his screen from another location. So the cursor is going to be a little bit off here.
You'll always notice that when you're remote controlling, because it's sending the keyboard and mouse stuff over the internet to my computer, then it's sending the video feedback back to you. So there's going to be a few millisecond latency.
Yep, and then I can control the screen. I can click on other tabs. I can scroll down through here, see past episodes. I can come back and say, okay, do you see this right here? Oh, I didn't see that box. It was blended in with the page.
Gotcha.
And then from here, if I want to end the screen control, what Greg can do from his side, if he's like, okay, I don't want you to control my screen anymore, then we're going to flip back to Greg's side and he's going to talk about that.
Yeah, and so I always warn people through this when we're trying to in training mode about how to share your screen and remote control, just because it's a thing that can be goofy if you're not aware of it, which is, let's say for some reason, Ben starts wandering to click on something I actually don't want him to click on. You go through this panic of, oh my gosh, what have I done? I don't know this guy. I gave him control of my computer. He's going to click on this thing and I don't want him to. So you grab your mouse and you wiggle it around. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't control my mouse anymore, which is terrifying. He's moving the mouse. I can't do anything. And this whole time I'm panicking, so I'm not reading the help text that's popped up that very simply says, if you click, that's all you have to do. So I click and immediately I've got that mouse back. I can go stop the share. I can do whatever else I want on my computer. But if Ben has control, Ben, go ahead and grab it again. Usually people eventually freak out enough and they just accidentally click that mouse once, and that's all it takes. So now I've got control back and I can stop that screen share and we're back to safety. Now, I've never been in a meeting where someone actually maliciously had that experience, but I feel like it helps understand it better if you understand that it's possible if they were going to go click on something that you just remember, click to take back control.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, what I tell people is, hey, I'm going to request to take control of your computer. If you want to, you can just click your mouse and it's going to give you back control immediately.
That's good etiquette to warn ahead of time. Let people know.
And then they know. And then they know I'm not trying to like, all right, we're going to come in and we're just going to start hacking your computer.
Yeah.
So that's just a nice thing to do. All right. From here, the next thing that we're going to cover is we're going to flip back to Greg's screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to share his screen, but we're going to also annotate on that screen. So from Greg's side here, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask him to annotate. So if we flip back to my side, I'm just right clicking again and I'm saying, I want to annotate. And annotation just means gives me the ability to draw on top of the screen. So let's say we're reviewing a document or we are building a building and I need to look at the specs of the building, and someone says, well, you know what, we need this beam to go over here and we need it to be about this wide, and then you want to type something on there. Then I can do that, and then we can, bad color though.
Yeah, you can choose the color. It's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Yeah. My favorite one is, I actually don't use the marker one that often. I usually use this arrow one, and I talk about this a lot. So if you're in person with someone and you're going over a document, you're going to have that document in front of the two of you, and you're going to indicate with your finger. I mean, the classic example is, here's the contract. I need you to sign here and here and here. And I really like it gives your name, so you see who is the arrow that's pointing, and then you can just identify those things. Really good example like Ben gave. Instead of not being able to find something and having to do a remote control, he could have just done annotation and said, look, the blue box with the text you're looking for, it's right here. Instead of having to think of ways to describe stuff on the screen, which we've all played that game and it's frustrating.
Yep, perfect. And then the last thing that we're kind of going to go over and cover today is if I want to flip back to my side and...
Hey, actually, Ben, before we flip to the whiteboard, I always do this one too because I forget how to stop. Yeah, flip back to my screen again. Sorry that. So I'm clicking, and all my mouse will do when I click is show this arrow. How do I get back to using my computer again? You have to click back down here to the arrow icon to switch back to your normal control of your screen. Cool?
Perfect.
Cool.
All right. From here, good tips, Greg. And from here, what we're going to do is switch back to my screen. And a lot of switching back and forth today.
Yeah.
Keeping the people on the back end on their toes. All right. So if I click the share content button, what I'm going to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then I can click share new whiteboard. Once I click that share new whiteboard, I also can go over here and click on the participant's name and allow them to annotate. Another cool thing that I can do is come up here under the participants tab at the top, and I can assign privileges. So it depends on what your settings are in here. Sometimes some of these boxes are unchecked, or maybe you don't want people to annotate inside of a session. So I can uncheck that, apply it, and then hit OK. And then no one who is a participant will be able to annotate, and then only myself as the host can annotate in the session. We're not going to do that today. So now, similar to what we were doing with annotating on a screen share, Greg's also going to be able to come in here now and start adding things on this side too. And I didn't click on Greg's name to allow him to annotate. So Greg, now I did.
Yep, I was waiting for it. I was trying to figure out if it was me or if it was
He's
you.
like, what's going on? Yeah. So make sure you allow someone to annotate. If you don't do that, then obviously they're not going to be able to draw on there. It is kind of a fun tool. So a lot of times, some people will also be doing a group project with someone or a team, and they'll say define leadership, and then what they want everyone to do is come in here and put the little tags in, and then they'll write in text, what they feel like leadership means and what does it mean to them, and then they have a whiteboard that they can save and download somewhere else and bring it up later and say, oh, like so and so Kim said a really great thing about leadership, and I wanted to share that with everyone. Then they can share that with everyone at the meeting, at the staff meeting. So, okay, Greg, anything else that you wanted to cover?
No, I think we're good. That's whiteboarding. Really more advanced tools to do remote control, to do annotation, and to do whiteboarding. But I think that they are good tools to have in your tool belt when you're trying to work through virtual meetings, when you're recreating what you used to do in the physical world.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So that's our prepared content for today. I think that's appropriate. Let's switch gears. First, a reminder for anybody, if you joined late and you missed anything, you can view the recording of any of our episodes on our archive page or on our Facebook, and you'll be able to see this episode coming up on Friday. It'll get posted on our page, and it'll be actually on Facebook even faster. So let's switch over to our general Q&A. Reminder to everybody out there, this is on you guys to ask questions. If you have questions, throw them in and we'll be able to talk about them. We did our due diligence as well and collected a couple from email from over the week to talk about two. They were real questions. That counts. We'll give it a minute.
Don't have any questions yet, but we do have a comment. So shout out to Teresa, who is watching live, who said hi. So thank you, Teresa, for watching today.
Yeah, Teresa, thanks for supporting Kim and the rest of the team.
Nice. Cool. Let's go to one of our prepared questions that we pulled from over the week.
Ooh, this is a good one. So the question is, I am an admin on our site and I added a user, but they never got the invitation in their email. And this was from Robert.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Let me log into our admin account so I can just kind of show what this looks like.
It's just rushing to catch up to and log in. So Ben, if you want to log in, I'll start talking over it. So to be an admin, you should know how to get to admin.webex.com, which is where you'll be able to log in and do those controls. And so that's what Ben is logging into right now. Once you're in that Control Hub site, there are a couple things. My first guess on this one was, the silly stuff. Like, did you just type the email wrong? Which I've seen plenty of times. It happens. Always double check the email. What was the other one? I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. It was, and then I forgot. It was,
Active Directory.
Yeah, there's a way you can set up your WebEx site to sync with Active Directory. And when you do that, one of the options is to suppress that invite email, because if you're Active Directory synced and you want to control how that communication goes, it'll stop that invite from going. And I've seen people get tripped up by that who didn't turn it on purpose. But none of those were the answer in this situation.
All right, so if we want to flip back over to my screen here, what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to see. Loading a little slow today. And another thing too about the admin portal is I was logged into it. It frequently logs you out of it. So if you're inactive, just remember that. It does log you out very frequently. And then so under the user section, a lot of things that people miss are some of those things that Greg was saying. But one of the main things that people miss is, as an administrator, they will be working on a staff meeting and they will be going through and adding people or bulk adding people, and they'll just click a bunch of buttons. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Manage Users, and we're going to click Manually Add Users. And we're going to click Next. We're just going to show you exactly how this works. You can add people by names and email addresses. Usually that's the best way. But we're going to use a fake email address. Let's see. And then we're going to click Next. And so a lot of times what people will miss is this part right here. There will be a box that will ask me to check and add myself to on one of the sites. So actually, our site is set up a little bit differently.
We have ours set up to automatically choose who gets what, but you can fake that same screen by grabbing your user and then clicking Edit, Ben. So click on it.
So
if you exit this and just pick one of the users and then click Edit, it'll show you the same screen.
All right, so we're going to use Aaron. Aaron's going to be our guinea pig because he's at the top here.
Nice.
So if I go in here and I edit Aaron is going to be shown, and it's going to show me what Aaron has access to. And Aaron has, since we have multiple sites too, you also want to make sure that you're assigning people to the right site. A lot of times what happens is when you go through and click all of those boxes, if it's not automatically assigning like ours is set up to do, then these boxes need to be checked. So if someone needs to use Webex Teams, then you're going to check mark the box for Webex Teams. If they also need to use Webex Enterprise Edition, then you're going to want to check that box and then save it and then update it. If none of those boxes are checked, which I've seen happen to a couple different customers, what will actually happen is no one's going to get an email because they're not assigned to anything. And then people are like, hey, so-and-so, I signed them up in there and I added their email and I resent the invitation, but they're not provisioned to anything so that they're not going to get a invite from Cisco. Another thing that you'll see that happens is sometimes your spam filter or something else will be blocking it, and you'll need to check that or your junk mail and see if it got moved there accidentally, and then open it up. Another thing that you can do though is actually go to your site. So we're going to go to tech.webex.com. And then what I'm going to show you is if I sign in and I forgot my password, what I can actually do is come over here and click sign in, and then enter my email address and then do a password reset. A lot of times that will fix it and get you right in. Since I was already logged in, it automatically logged me in here. Let me sign out real quick. And then also, alternatively, if either of these things don't work, let me make sure I'm signed out of all my other Webex tabs here. All right, let's see if this works here. All right, so then I'll put my email address. I'm going to click next. And then I'm going to say forgot password. A lot of times what that will do is it'll then send you an email, and it will make it then into your email box if you couldn't find it in the other places. If that still doesn't work, you can also go to settings.webex.com. Oh, settings, not setting. And you can do the same thing. I think I keep typing that wrong. And then you can enter your email address, go to sign in, and do a password reset. Usually that's the last thing I tell people is if the other things that we tried didn't work, go to settings.webex.com and do that. And then most of the time, then they'll also get an email that allows them to get into their site that's been locked. That's a good question, though.
Yeah, we actually had a question real similar to that, which is along the same lines, and it's actually some of the same steps, which was somebody trying to help their boss get the password reset. So the way Webex works, you don't as an admin, know what any user's passwords are. The relationship between WebEx and the user is private. No admin knows what your password is. I can, as an admin, go see that you have an account. I can see that you're hosting meetings, but I can't know what your password is. If you have to have a password reset, you do it yourself. So you go to settings.webex.com like Ben showed, and then you put your email address in, and you get to the screen where it shows you, okay, now if you want to reset, click on reset. So I know, Ben, you just went through this, but I'll go through it again real quick just for the show don't tell aspect of it. So if we want to switch over to my screen, settings.webex.com, I can put in my own email address to reset my own password. But the scenario we were in was somebody was trying to reset his boss's password for her. She wasn't very technical. She was struggling to figure out how to do it. And he said, is there any way I can just reset it? And I said, well, technically you can come in here and you can type in her email address. And then what it'll do is you click sign in. Everybody's going to let you do it at this point. Then you can click forgot password on their behalf. They know how to get to their email. If you click forgot password with their email address entered, it's going to send them the reset. So it is a cool trick. If you ever do need to help someone else reset their password, just ask them for their email address. You can pop it in there and then you can reset it for them. All they have to have is access to their own email.
Yep. Simple.
Cool.
Nice.
Super easy.
I think we're good. I think that's a good point to call it for today. As a reminder, we talked about screen sharing, kind of some more advanced tips, whiteboarding, annotation, remote control. Next week, we'll be on again. Webex Wednesdays at 1. It's easy to remember. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.